I didn't forget. I heard her just say, do you hear her say recording in progress as well?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Recording in progress.
I think
Well,
sounds quite cute.
yeah. Maybe you should take her out for a nice chicken dinner one night or something.
Is she a Zoom girl or Apple girl?
What? Why do you like Apple Girl as well, Siri?
No,
No.
no, not interested in the Apple business. They fuck you over. They give you two, don't they? Remember?
Yeah, oh, fucking Bono. Look, shut up. I'm Dan Watson.
I'm Paul Sloggett. Welcome to the dare.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your viewing and audio pleasure. Oh, actually, by the time this comes out, hopefully I will have rectified that we're a couple of episodes behind on the audio releases. But that's because we've been concentrating on other bits. Yeah, for your pleasure tonight, we have a wonderful young whippersnapper by the names of Monsieur. I think he goes by the name of Monsieur. He likes a French pronunciation rather than just a plain Mister. Connor Smout. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to click admit. Slog's going to have a little cough there. And here he is.
Good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
How are we?
It could be good morning, it could be good day, or good night, or anything. That's the deal.
All right, have a great time of day, everyone. I've been concentrating.
Thankfully, there's no bloody time zones to take into account this one. We're local-ish, right?
Yeah.
Well, southwest at least. We can say southwest, can't we?
We can indeed.
Welcome to the Dirt Connor. This is your episode, your time to shine as such.
It's lovely to be here in my own house.
In your own house. Welcome.
Where are you? Where are you based?
I'm based in Bristol. Kind of came to uni here, another left kind of deal. I think I'm officially Bristolian now because it's over 10 years. So yeah.
Are you not from Bristolian?
No, I grew up in sort of proper mid Wales, so deepest darkest. But it was a great place to grow up, and especially for mountainboarding, we had a lot of nice spots and. Yeah, I suppose. But yeah, it was a nice place to grow up, and visited a few unis, came down here to Bristol, and it felt like a sort of nice. It felt like a big town rather than a city, so I kind of fell in love with the place, and yeah, hence why I'm still here.
Strangely, I've not spent much time in Bristol. I mean, I'm a southeast boy originally,
yeah.
But then since I moved to Cornwall, everywhere seems far away, so it's not like I spend too much time. But the small amount of time that I have done, it seems a wicked city. It really
it's
is.
A great city for like music and nightlife and stuff. It's well, one of the things I studied like audio music technology at UE in Bristol, and it was the musicalness of the city that kind of was a big selling point on it. There's a lot of variety, whether you want drum and bass or like metal. There's something going on.
It could be argued that it was the founding place of drum and bass, wasn't it? So many massive drum and bass, trip hop genres, were both massive. In that
a lot of big artists, massive Attack being one of them.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I saw them actually. I saw them 2 years ago at Eden project. They come down here.
Nice.
Great stage show that.
Yeah, I imagine so. It was in the dome.
No, it's outside.
Okay.
Outside. They've got like a little amphitheatre, a natural. Well, it's not natural because it's been made, but like a natural style. Yeah. Typical Cornish quarry. Yeah. I mean, we can see the keyboard and the keyboard stand in the background there.
Yeah, I work for a synthesizer company, so I'm absolutely not a keys player, which is weird. And the majority of people who work for the company aren't keys players, which sounds weird. But I'm a software developer, so I do have to tinker on the keys and make little demos and stuff. Hence why you can see
if I want to sound professional when talking to a pianist,
I'm not the person to speak to.
You're not. But when I refer to it as keys, then you don't say tinkle the ivory. You say.
I think there's a distinction, maybe born out of snobbery, I'm not sure. But you have sort of synth players and things like organ and stuff in like jazz and soul outfits that are often referred to as keys players, and then it's only like the proper hardcore pianists that are like they're a pianist rather than like a keys player.
Right.
If it's not string, it's keys. It's not keys.
Yeah, true. If it's a real thing and it's got hammers and strings, and I think you're a pianist. But yeah, otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose we could just go on with various pianist jokes now, couldn't we? Let's get down to the nitty gritty, my man. You talked about tea. You want to have a tea?
Well, actually, I haven't had tea yet. That's my reward for sort of finishing this. Domestic stuff. I had to go and do the shopping and things before this. So yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Have you got a plan though? If you've been shopping, what did you shop for?
I went quick. I went frozen pizza tonight. I'm gonna want quick enough after this. So yeah.
I can some tips if you're interested.
Oh yeah, mail them over.
Nice.
Well, I do the kids ones as well. I quite enjoy them.
Nice. I do like fish finger sandwich. That is a sort of staple lunch of mine.
Oh yeah, I got to say, a nice fish finger butty with red sauce.
Absolutely. There's no other way to do it.
No. Have we mentioned mountainboarding yet?
No.
We sort of No,
do we have to? I mean, I'm really enjoying it so far.
Yeah. What are those things behind you then? I mean, I've seen my hand for. I suppose I should sort of do a bit of an intro of.
Yeah, I reckon. I mean,
how I am.
When did you start? What year do you reckon you started mountainboarding? And how old are you now? And
how did you find it?
Give us some perspective to the intro.
So I'm 31 now. I actually had to ask my mum when I started because I couldn't remember. So I got my first mountainboard somewhere around 2003, we reckon, when I was about 11. It was a Christmas present. And I got like on a hard drive somewhere at home. There's probably a photo of me of the moment, but apparently my eyes were just like lit up.
Did you ask for a mountain board, or did your parents just surprisingly buy you one?
I sort of mentioned it, yes, because
not look like it's going to sort itself out. Yeah, can you still hear us? No, we can. I can think.
Right. It's up already.
I can't unmute you.
That's a great one.
Leave the chat. Right. Oh my goodness. That is intense. No, stop. I don't want you to unmute it. Stop. Leave and then come back in. I'm going to text you. Oh my God. Keep them entertained for it. Keep the.
Put it back on, man.
Put it back on. Leave and come back. Where are you?
Right. Anyway, while we're waiting, Emily's had his board stolen. out of his motor up in Bristol. There's only two doing moorings in the country at the moment, the new ones. The other one Eamon's got. So it ain't going to be hard to see. So if you see it on Facebook, offered to buy it, anything like that, give them a heads up, man.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Oh, man.
I've already said I'm ready to put my shit kicking boots on, drive up there, pair of pliers and a blowtorch, and get medieval on these motherfuckers.
That's what you told me. You said you were going to buy it and not tell him and keep it for your little treasure trove.
Hey, back in the room. That's true. Oh no! Right. Because what is?
It's a great sample.
Right. Let's.
Oh God.
I'm going to keep recording because then I can just chop this. So.
Why don't you leave it in? It's brilliant.
My webcam unplugged.
Oh man, right. Sorry. Let me just apologise before we go any further because I am going to leave part of that in because it is quite amusing. It's what is. This what is. This what is. This what is.
Honestly, I have absolutely no idea what just happened. I unplugged my webcam and plugged it back in, and it seems to have sorted its life out. But
yeah, very strange.
I could hear it and see you. I was wondering when you guys started like grooving. I was like, "What are you doing?" I couldn't hear that at all.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Apologies for that. Well, I don't know why I'm apologising. Apologies to the viewers if you found that offensive, but we found that quite fun. It's like going down the discotheque.
Yeah, apologies.
Disco fucking tech.
For issues on my
Where
end.
were we? Christmas.
We were Christmas around 2003, but he'd asked for the mountain board, and what we want to know is what made you ask for the mountain board, and how did you come across it?
Because what is no. No. What it was, I was in Scouts at the time, and a few of them were into, well, our Scout leader and a few of the other guys were into mountain biking. So there's a few good places to go mountain biking around where we were. Nantararian, where some of the Trampa boys have been riding their e-boards. And Climax trails, there's loads of gnarly trails up there, Mountainboard way. And Mountainboard.
And I have zero chance of being able to spell this, and which is why a lot of these places are Wales' best kept secrets, I'm sure.
It's easy when you know it, but yeah.
So it's right up there, although isn't it? Such good riding everywhere.
Absolutely, but we, when we started, before we even discovered, taking them to mountain bike trails and mountain board centres and stuff, we were just taking them to, farmers' fields on a Sunday, all fully decked out in our waterproofs, and, trying to do a toe side turn and thinking it was the most terrifying thing in the world. But yeah, so we were a few of them were into mountain biking, and I had a mountain bike at the time, but I just got so frustrated with it because I was always the one where something would break. My chain would break. I think my front wheel fell off at one point, and I was just fed up with it. And it was, but then my mate got a mountain board, and I was like, this thing looks amazing. I'd already been skating for years. I've been skating since I was a kid. I was lucky enough to live opposite a skate park, and I sort of watched that skate park being built. Our town had a small little scene, and had a skate committee who were campaigning for the skate park. And I remember coming home from school every day once they'd got it, and every day I came home from school, it was built a little bit more. It was this really exciting kind of build up, and that's when I sort of started. Once that was built, I started skateboarding more and more. And then I saw this mountain board, and I was like, oh yeah, that looks amazing. That definitely looks like my kind of thing. So asked for the mountain board for Christmas, and opened the wrapping paper, and there was this scrub lion canyon there.
Nice. The greeny, yellow, and blue.
Oh, pure. No, it was just the green one. So I think the blue one was the Silver Reef.
Yeah, Furnace Creek, a Silver Reef, and
there a Quasar at one stage as well.
There was a Quasar as well. I think that might have been
later. I think that's a bit later. I think that's when Scrub brought out their channel truck, I think, or their later one, because there was around the same time as the MBS Locust and stuff, which is what my mate had incidentally. But they had sort of a channel truck, but it was just kind of like welded steel, I think. And Scrub had those, and then I think the Quasar had a bit more of a sophisticated channel sort of thing. But yeah, we had those, and we used to go out on a Sunday and get, you know, plastered in mud head to toe, go out no matter the weather. Get towed about on a quad bike going back up the hill, because, you know, that was as much fun as going down on the mountain board. We used to go out in the snow and all sorts, and it sort of progressed from that, going out on a Sunday, to, you know, we found some mountain bike tracks, and then we saw that there were mountain board centres, and we were like, oh, there's one quite, well, relatively close, and that was in Brecon, and it was Green Man.
Yeah,
you know, took a Lion Canyon to Green Man.
Brave man.
Just the longest at the time. I think the longest and fastest course in the country.
Yeah, and you know, I'd seen the Top Gear episode, and you know, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's here. And oh my god, you know, a lot smaller back then I was, and so the tables and stuff were just colossal. And we were just trying to roll over them, and we're like, okay, we've got a lot of work to do here, because we're not ready for this, and you know, we were wobbling everywhere. So I think the next one we found was OTG, and that was a lot more accessible. And we sort of started on the grass slope, and then we were doing the border cross track in sections, and you know, I'll never forget doing that border cross track in one go and being like super stoked, and you know, starting to double them and doing that triple that was at the top. But you could only do it on a good day, because there was always a headwind at that centre. So you dropped out the gates, and there was just wind hitting you in the face. But it was there that I sort of started getting into freestyle, because I was
Are you still on your Lion Canyon at this point?
When we started going to OTG, I was still on a Lion Canyon. I think it was soon after that I got a no snow off eBay, and you know, it was kind of a job lot deal where I got the no snow with like I think I had 9-inch tires on it. There was some of the tan leather hillbillies that had been repaired about 1 million times. You know, they were sewn up and stuff. Some 661 knee pads. And those knee pads lasted me at least 10 years. Like, it was amazing. So I had a no snow at OTG trying to do freestyle. And, you know, I managed to get it off the ground and stuff, and like a couple of clips of jumping over my mate and stuff, you know. But I used to see the riders back then. I have no idea who they are to this day. I just remember watching these riders, you know, riding down and 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 down.
I don't want to go disco. I don't want to go discotheque again. Connor, unplug your thing. Your webcam's gone again. Right, and another little intermission. We might as well.
What is happening?
I don't know, but you're back and it's not doing it. So whatever you did then, right? If it happens again,
I know the solution.
You suddenly start wailing at you, then that's the reason why. It'll start bopping. I'll start wailing.
I have absolutely no idea what's going on. I'm so sorry. Where did I lose you?
We were talking about.
You were looking at the hardcore riders coming down the track.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, just watching them on the freestyle track and being like, oh, God, I wish I could do that. We used to try 360s and stuff, 180s and 360s, and I just couldn't do it on the no snow. It was great fun for, you know, when we took it like free riding, and it ate some of the tracks we had, you know, big rocks and stuff, and I was like, yeah, no problem. But yeah, 9-inch tires on the sort of slope style at OTG wasn't ideal. So that's when I bought the Comp 16 off my mate. I who
is this the same mate that started riding with you on?
One of them, yeah. There was, I think there was three of us who had four of us who had mountain boards, and one of them, Adam, he just went on eBay and just bought boards.
I was feeling like
that. Yeah.
I'm hoping so.
And I was jealous of his Comp 16, and I had a go on it at OTG and was like, oh, I need to get me one of these. And he was like, well, I can buy this one off me. So I got on that, and that was a game changer at the time. I was like, yeah, that was great. And I just realized that I forgot a board in between there somewhere. So I had just before the No Snow and just after the Lion Canyon, off OTG, I bought Comp 6. So that was, yeah. So that was like this. Yeah, exactly. So that was like my stepping stone from the Lion Canyon to the No Snow. Yeah, that was a great board. That was a step up from the Lion Canyon for sure.
Yeah. How old are we talking? How old were you now at this point?
Probably 15, 16 sort of age. And
had you seen the circus that was the ATBA UK series at that point, or
we went to watch one competition at, I couldn't tell you what year it was, at Green Man, so it was
right.
It was probably a few years prior, and
I imagine you'd have probably seen a dashing young chap backflip down there or something like that.
The main thing
maybe for a strange coincidence beating Leon Robbins down a hill for the only one time in existence.
Honestly, the one thing I remember from that was the crowds. I just couldn't believe the crowds of people watching mountain boarders race, and
yeah,
I was like, I want to do that. I want to race, and have crowds and stuff by the side, watching. But it was my mates were like, I think it was a bit of a thing that we did on Sunday, and I think I was the one who got really into it and wanted to race and stuff. I remember going to OTG and being like in the gates, like, oh, let's have a race, and it's been like, let's just get down the track. But I didn't go to my first ATBA comp until 2013. Right. So I was already like in uni, and I'd seen someone share about the UK series, and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get. We all sort of fell off a little bit mountain boarding when we went to uni. You discover uni and stuff, and we all sort of fell off with it. Then I was like, no, I'm going to go to this comp at Court Farm, and I got two of my mates to come with me, and it was fantastic. And that's when I met everyone. I met James and Matt and everyone really, and was just kind of welcomed in with open arms, and it was just lovely.
Well, I assume that you would have missed the sort of heydays of Team Bad.
Yeah, definitely. I remember.
Sorry, I think somebody from the Upside Down's talking to Slogs in his room there by the looks of things.
I wasn't sure when you paused. Then I was like, have I gone loopy again?
No, I don't know what's up with this episode. The professional lighting rig in Slogs' studio is playing havoc now as well.
Okay,
again now
we're cursed. Yeah, I definitely missed the heyday of kind of the teams and stuff. I remember, was it ATB Forum? I think I joined that one year, and I saw that Team Bad were doing a meet at Green Man, and I was still in my Lion Canyon then actually, and we, my mum and stepdad took me down, but like I remember I found it quite intimidating, and I was too scared to go and say hello. I never sort of looked at any of them. So
little young baby cute Connor was there on that day.
Yeah, apparently so. But that was just, that was just
not the same no more.
I'd say I've come out my shell a little bit. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, 2013 was the first comp I did where, I was hooked from that point. I don't think the two guys sort of from my hometown, I don't think they came back to another comp after that, but I came to a few. Did I go to a few? I think I went to two that year and then went to most of them, in 2014. I loved this whole series format. It was really cool and got to see some cool places. Went up to Perth, like the Perth downhill track in Scotland and things.
Yeah.
That was a cool track actually. The downhill, like going on the footpath, and there was that really nice, gnarly off camber right hand turn at the bottom where you start to hold your grip. Otherwise you just slid for miles. That was really fun. And God, where else did we go? There was a interesting downhill at Fruit Farm or something.
Fruit Farm.
Yeah.
In the comments, please, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't. Yeah, I think it might have actually been called Fruit Farm.
Was it like an orchard or something?
Yeah, I think so. I've definitely got photos from it. I'll have to find the photos and link you guys to them. But that was quite fun.
Apple orchard, maybe it was West Country way then.
Honestly, can't remember. I think my favourite one was Little B. That was in the sort of series thing. Little B was that was a real fun track, and that's where I sort of started to dial it a little bit. I think with downhill. I think that was actually my first downhill medal was Little B in the seniors. That was a really good track.
Can you remember who you stood on the podium with that day, do you reckon?
One of the I think Ernesto Del Torre was there, I think, and another guy who I don't think rides anymore.
Right.
Dan? Can't remember, but yeah, Ernesto was definitely there. But yeah, and there was no podium. It was. Yeah. I stood in the woods with some guys. Yeah,
loitering.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think downhill from that point was like, what I think was my discipline. But I never sort of forgot the interest in freestyle. But I think the head game was always a bit too strong. It took me a couple of years to kind of start getting into that and getting over that kind of fear aspect of freestyle, because it was always a big wall. Like, you try and do things and you get to the jump and your brain goes, "No, you're not doing that." Still struggle with it now, but I definitely come on a bit since back then.
I'd say.
Yeah, well, I've kind of in the past few years, I've definitely focused on freestyle. But it was definitely when I started competing, I think it was definitely bordercross and downhill with the kind of focus. And riding with B was a big influence there. He taught me a lot about getting drifty in the woods.
Yeah, got to shout out to the Bizzle.
Absolutely, that's my riding improved no end riding with him. We went. He took me to a few spots, a few old spots that no one really rode anymore around Stroud and things. And the first time I went to Serbia in 2014 for the Worlds, he sort of, this one was Slovenia actually.
I was going to say, I'm pointing it and I'm looking at it and I've not been there, but I know it's a Slovenia hat and I'm thinking, I'm going to get called out.
And that was a really fun year. I remember James telling me about Serbia, and I saw the photos the previous year, and I was just like, that looks absolutely insane. Watching the videos, and they're going down the track with like balaclavas on and stuff and goggles because they couldn't see a thing. And Tom D and James were just like in awe of this track and the people, and I was like, I can't wait. I need to go there. I need to go and ride that track. And then when I went there, it absolutely pissed it down.
No.
So the comp was like postponed for a couple of days, but we Bob out there took us to like one of his local spots in the woods, and we ended up doing what we do here and just sort of sliding around in the mud. And B had actually lent me a Comp 16, one of the bomber ones.
Yeah.
Because I was still riding this Comp 16, and he basically said, "I'm not letting you ride that board here," because it had lost all of its stiffness. It was so floppy by that point. And he was like, "You're not riding that here." So he lent me a board for that weekend, and yeah, had a really good day. It's like just had a drift competition and just doing some free ride lines, and of course B just went off the beaten track, and we were on this like footpath sort of track, and he just goes off down the hill where there is no track. It's just he's just off down there. So that was fun, and that was about the time that I was riding at Court Farm. So Court Farm, since I went to the first comp there in 2013, kind of got taken under the wing there, which was really nice. And Raf gave me an orange t-shirt to ride for them at the time, and like
Nice.
orange was my color, so I was like, yeah, this is great. And there's photos of me riding the downhill track and the black track, which
Incredible. We've
The
had
berms on-
so many little homages in episodes of anybody that's been to that place as memories of that black track.
the berms there were just like, well, I remember they're probably not as big as I remember them, but I remember the berms on the black track being just like so big, like, and then practically like bowls and just like hugging you in.
They would. I'm sure either everybody's memory of them is distorted, or they were actually that big.
Yeah. We rode down it in the dark once. Dale persuaded me to put, strap some torches on and ride down that in the dark. And obviously, the grass condensates.
Dale Goodwin, you're talking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think him and a few guys, Team Dad, were big into their night riding at the time, and he strapped torches on. And I was like, oh, yeah, let's do this. I'll have a go. Grass gets really wet at night. We went down the black run, and it was like trying to ride down ice. I swear to God. I also remember loads of slugs being on the track and just like them flinging up off the wheels, and it was just like it was kind of grim. But I did get a cool photo of him coming down the track with his torch, and I got like a long exposure of him like snaking down the hill, which is kind of cool.
I got to say, it was nice to see him come along to the championships this year.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he went sort of more the longboarding thing, which I've got mad props to those guys, because I don't think I could go down a hill on a skateboard at like 50 mile an hour.
No, not in the way he does.
I like my skin too much.
He's indulged in a YouTube retro gaming YouTube channel now as well.
Yeah, and it seems to be doing pretty well for him. So props to you, Dale, for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting channel.
There you go. Shout out over. We're back to
yeah. So yeah, I was riding at Court Farm, was wearing the orange t-shirt. And then when Tom D took over sort of Ironside's Court Farm, and it became Hereford Board and Bike Park, sort of rode for the team then as well, and was going up there and helping a little bit on dig days, the little bit that I can do, because I'm crap at manual labor. But we went and did some shaping, built some stuff, and those were a really good few years, until sadly had to close its doors, which was very sad.
So were you there to the bitter end then, were you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was quite emotional, when it had to close its doors, and it wasn't the last one either, which was it's a sad state of mountainboard in the UK, but we're here, we're keeping it alive, I guess. I definitely joined at the at the sort of
on the
post peak.
slope.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't my fault, honest.
Well, to be fair to you, you were riding during those times. You just weren't part of the circus as such.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's you know, we kind of missed out on it. We were in our own little bubble. And I did start, like I say, I joined ATB Forum, and I did get you know, when we went to OTG, I used to buy, you know, ATB mag and scuzz and stuff, and I had those, but it was always just this kind of other world, and sort of we popped into it on a Sunday kind of thing. And like I say, it was only until I was older that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna dive into this and actually go compete and get involved. And I suppose I got more involved the longer I did it. And got involved.
Who's your crew? Who was your crew back then? You mentioned James and Matt.
Yeah. I mean, obviously James was.
We said there, but
James local to Hereford, so I used to ride with him a lot. Him and Ben up at Hereford, and the other James, who was Philpott, who was riding up at Hereford and used to help out. So we were riding there. I'm not sure Tom was doing a lot of riding at that point.
Yeah.
Which is obviously running a centre I'm sure it does that. But it was just
post Court Farm, where
post Court
you sort of
post Court Farm, you know, started meeting up with people in and around Bristol. So I think it was probably about then, you know, that I met Jamie Charles and Nigel de Grey and people like that, and we started.
Who for the record have both had an absolutely stonking season from my perspective this last year.
Absolutely, yeah.
Pair of them have just gone like pum, step up.
Yeah. I tell you what, riding at Bugs, we've ridden a lot of Bugs in the past couple of years, and you know, having the like airbag sessions on a Thursday night, it's it does push you riding and sort of get confidence up. Jamie was going huge on those jumps in the freestyle this year. So yeah, definitely props to them. I think it was only later that Emlyn moved back to Bristol, and sort of he became sort of a more of a staple of the Bristol crew. But yeah, I think it was mainly Jamie and Nige at the time that we were sort of riding with in Bristol. I used to go and meet up with people. Phil de Havilland, we used to meet up on sort of some downhill days and stuff. And Andy Rolfe used to come along on his bike. So yeah, that was the sort of main thing. I was still going up to Hereford and sort of finding some free ride spots and things around there.
Yeah.
And then I suppose got involved with the ATBA a little bit because I'm the type of person who's just like, you know, dive in and offer a hand at comps and things. And that's been sort of my capacity with ATBA throughout, really. You know, I don't see the point in going along to comps and not lending a hand. So yeah, you know, it started off carrying some cables, and then it was like, you know, carrying cables and holding a clipboard, and then, you know, setting up the tents, and then it was like we did some running the races and things. So sort of got to do more and more of that, but yeah, mostly on the event side.
I got to tell you, you started the gates in the E Prix, not this recent one, the one before 2021. Best goddamn start gate official I've ever had the pleasure to be started by, Connor. Well done.
I'm glad I didn't whip you with my piece of elastic that was, you know, tied to a ticker tape post. Real sophisticated start system. That.
Yeah, I liked it. That
worked surprisingly well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Just keep me away from a mic, because I've tried that and it just doesn't work.
You're doing all right tonight, but I suppose this is just a Zoom call, isn't it? That's what.
The commentating is a thing that I'm like, props to anyone who can do it, because I can't do it. it's so hard. So yeah, involved with the ATBA, helping out at comps and stuff. As well, you know, as well as competing. I think downhill downhill was the thing that I was like focusing on at the time. So I think I mainly started helping out a lot with the downhill because that was sort of my main discipline, I guess. Got my first pro medal in the downhill, which was cool.
What year was that?
I'm gonna have to check the board. I can't remember. I think it was 2015. I think it was 2015. But yeah, I like downhill because you kind of, it's against yourself and it's all in your head, and every run it's an analysis thing. You're there and you're like, okay, what did I do there? What worked? What didn't work? I got a slower time and why? And that suits me. And especially getting as many runs in the jam format as you can is great, because it's up to you to get back up there and do it better.
Do you find yourself on a slightly insight into your mind then, and the way it works, Matt? Do you find yourself analysing your runs or your technique, or is it that obviously if you slide out on a corner, then you think, right, everybody who ever slides out on a corner will go, right, what the hell went wrong? But if you get a clean line and you get a clean, consistent run there, how do you then, what are your sort of go-to things to look at as to getting yourself a faster time than what you currently set? I mean, do you look for to cut corners? Do you going right? Do you start off with like lower pressure and then ramp up the pressure, or
I think
tires?
Yeah, some of it is like obviously riding just as clean and smooth as I can. I sometimes you get it clean, but it's like you're tic-tacking all over the place, and it's like that must be costing you time. But I think Bees or some always told me, I think it was probably 2014 that he told me first, when we actually had the racing at Serbia, because the track was wet. He was like, lower tire pressure is actually going to be faster today. So sometimes it is counterintuitive, lowering your tire pressure, coming slower into things, slower to go faster kind of thing. Is
certainly in a free ride environment.
If you can stay in control and stay properly clean, then it's probably going to be faster than just like being proper Larry and having to tic tac and scrub and be a bit crazy
around.
Yeah, I mean, would you describe if you were to describe your riding techniques? Are you I don't like the front wheels leaving the ground as little as possible. I don't mind if I'm like skitching a bit of speed off or using the back end and skitching out and stuff like that to control descent. But like if I'm some riders, like it's like that no snow hop that I'm sure as a kid, when you first had your no snow there, you must have had that no snow hop to get around.
Yeah, absolutely.
That drives me absolutely crackers. But it's sometimes in a lot of time setting scenarios, it's quicker to do that than it is to hold that nice carve, or that
it's nice definitely fluidity. Like a last minute adjustment thing for me. Like, so if you're coming around a berm or a corner or something, if I try and hold it as tight as possible, and all four wheels on the ground, and then if you've got a line in your head for what you want to come out of that corner on, and if you're like, okay, this I'm on the wrong line here, I'm going to come out of this corner too wide or something, then last minute adjustment, but you keep it minimal, because I don't like hopping around the corner either, and all as well with berms, like it's like I feel like a lot of people forget to pump them. Like getting a pump out of a berm can really make a difference. You're not gonna get a good pump if your front wheels are bouncing all over the place. So I am a lot in my head when I'm riding. I can't another thing, I can't ride with music on. I genuinely don't understand how people ride ride with music on. Like Nige does it, Matt does it, and I'm like, no, I can't do it. I feel like I need this kind of feedback loop between what I'm hearing my board do and what I'm doing, and I've got to hear what's going on. Right? If you took that away from me, like I feel like you might as well cover my eyes. It's really strange.
I completely agree with you on some. Like if I'm out on the eve, it doesn't require as much concentration in my mind as like going to doing a session on the kickers or something like that. I'd like there to be music being played so that, you know, when I'm stood at the top, I'd be relaxed. But I hear you completely. Like I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want it in my head when I'm trying to concentrate on fucking holding on for grim death.
I can't concentrate on two things at the same time. It should be no fucking good for me.
No, and especially in border cross. I mean, you know, I want to be able to hear where people are. Like,
people creeping up your ass.
You can't be looking everywhere at all times. Even though I have been caught looking back up the track, like far too many times in photos.
Waving.
always seems to be me looking backwards up the track. But yeah, no, I need to be able to hear things like that. And yeah, constantly thinking like, what am I doing? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? And I think that's why the freestyle thing takes so much like mental work for me, because I'm just thinking all the time. So, you know, I overthink things, and then all the way up to the lip. And that's, you know, it's a bit too much sometimes.
Still deciding your trick at the lip.
Probably just like overthinking the steps to do the trick. I mean, you know, the odd mind blank does happen. You get to lip and like, what was I doing? Yeah. But yeah, no, more like, you know, what trick am I doing? What do I need to do this thing? And like, I'll either be like, no, I'm not doing that, or like I haven't thought through all the steps by the time I'm at the lip, or yeah, something. There's a lot of I'm in my head a lot, and I need to not be. I know that, but it's just how it is.
And
are you like that generally in life, or is that just when you're riding, or is that like?
I mean, I'm a software developer. I have to analyze stuff all the time. So yeah, I'd say I'm quite an analytical person. But yeah, that when I'm riding, definitely. And the smallest thing can really throw you off. Like you know, if your board develops a new squeak or something, or something quite not quite right, it's like, no, that's thrown everything off. It's got to be just right.
So I mean, dashing back, you say, to your involvement in the ATBA a little bit there, and obviously me Slogs have just sort of offered our hands for a more hands-on approach, with helping out with the ATBA in the future. Although, as you said, we've always offered to you know, be the bloody general dog's body, and you know, pick up the rubbish or do whatever, that sort of stuff anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a bit more of a proactive role in there, and I've obviously realized and learned that you have returned to the ATBA team now as well, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of sort of time allocation constraints from people, and sort of had to take a step back. But you know, I think Matt and Lee done incredible job. Like, can't thank them enough for, you know, even still keeping things going then. And you know, I couldn't keep my hands off, you know, comps and things. So you know, I was still kind of always there. But it was it was sort of the events stuff that kept me there, and chatting with Matt about, you know, the sort of technical challenges and aspects of what goes into running a comp, and you know, seeing if we can develop ways to take some of that that sort of pain away, or the the bits that are a pain in the ass basically away, like having to run cable from the top of the hill to the bottom, and things like that. But it's just one of those things you've got to do. But it would be nice if we can't. So chatting, and I'm from a technical background, so I can have some input there. So we've been chatting about some things. So that should be fun. And hopefully I can have a hand in making things better in the future.
Yeah. I hope there seems to be some renewed interest in trying to push things forward a bit with the UK scene, which is fantastic. I think the more interest we can drum up within our own scene will provide a bit of exposure for the outside of the scene.
Yeah, I think the when Hales closed, I think it was a little bit of a wake-up call to a lot of people, and sort of a galvanizing point of like, okay, we need to sort of do some more here and sort of show up to more events and try and do a bit more, sort of not so much promotion, but just sort of like just general exposure of mountain boarding, I suppose. So I think it has been nice seeing people riding at bugs more, and I definitely see more people somehow because it's a bit more concentrated, I suppose.
Yeah,
I think we've got such a talented pool of mountain boarders out there. There's so many people out there with proper talents outside of the mountain board community that are like just throwing their knowledge in now.
Yeah,
just pushing it forward like that.
Yeah, and I hope it can continue. But I mean, we need more youngsters to take it up. I mean, that's the big thing. Yeah, exactly. I've been mountainboarding since I was 11. And I have people who've been mountainboard, a lot longer. And the fact that like we've upped the masters age now to sort of be in line with Europe and stuff to be 35, but the masters being the biggest category was, that's a telling point. So I think it is important that we go out and ride places and put up with, but answer constructively the what's that? Did you make it yourself?
Yeah,
kind of the usual things. When people ask, how much is one of those, and be as open and inviting to people as we can when we do go out riding. We've been going to we go to Ramp World quite a lot, Billy. Some evening sessions and things.
We see quite a lot of that place now on the Instagram sessions.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good because we get asked there quite a lot. What's that? Oh, that looks sick. Would you want to have a go? And you either get like, oh yeah, or oh no way. And it's trying to get people over that initial sort of initial fear. But more and more at the moment, I am hearing like, oh yeah, I used to have one of these, and thinking of getting one again, or I got my kid one of these and things like that, which is good. So hopefully, just by posting things online, talking to people about it, can sort of keep the word alive a little bit.
And like the thing with online as well, some of the views that like Eamon and Emlyn are getting on their TikTok accounts are just because TikTok is just throwing it out there so anyone can see it, rather than with YouTube and stuff, you've got to physically go and search for it. But like with a TikTok, it's just like a swipe up, just watch the videos, and it's getting the sport out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
do we need a TikTok account?
I'm nowhere near the views that those guys are getting, but I think I was genuinely surprised. I put a video up earlier in the summer, and it was just like one trick on the airbag at Bugs, and it got like 2,500 views, which for me was like, what the hell? I looked at my previous videos, and it's like 100, 150, 200, and then suddenly like 2,500.
Yeah, it's madness. Yeah, have you not got a TikTok account, Dan?
I think I might have made
You're
one.
not down with the kids, are you, man?
No. People don't use Snapchat anymore. What?
But yeah, some of the that is the way forward at the moment. TikTok.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Dylan Warren and stuff, and the views he gets on Instagram is insane. But I think it is about just regular high quality stuff. And I know I'm really bad for not filming enough. I've got my GoPro and stuff, but I'm always too busy riding. And I've always come away from them like, I didn't get any footage today. Which I do feel bad for team captain Sonny Dibben, because every time he asks for footage, I'm like,
Team captain Sonny Dibben. Well, we probably. Oh, thankfully, it's not the devil himself, Sonny Dibben. Oh, this is Mr. Emlyn Bainbridge.
Hello, evening.
We've got to turn him up a bit here. So I think my phone might be a little bit low. Your first community question, and for the first ever time, a live
one.
A live community. Well, at least for us, not for the listeners.
Why didn't you just pop around, Emlyn?
Are you in the room next door, Emlyn?
How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. What can I do for you, good sir?
Good. So my question for you, which I did already send to Dan, it's not like he's just put me on the spot. So if you could build any feature with any budget at Bugs next, what would it be?
Oh, good one. While he has to think about that, just to let you know, we have recorded a little. Slog has recorded a little section on here in the search for your board. We wish you all the best with that, mate. And I believe they're making a new setup at the moment to get him back out on four wheels. So if there's anything you need at the moment, have you got a complete setup there in pieces?
I'm missing one inner tube.
One inner tube. Do you want me to put one in the post to you tomorrow?
I could probably find one from someone in Bristol, I'm sure. Thanks.
Well, just knock on Connor's door.
Yeah, I've definitely got inner tubes you can have, mate.
Legend.
So in answer to your question, I think it would be really cool to build a spine. We built one at Hereford once, which was, we did it. It was pretty gnarly. it was like a wooden slatted thing with no coping or anything on the top, but it was we built it too big and too steep. But I think a nice spine feature would be really cool. That you could take like that little spine, like the jibby spine thing with the two banks that you built for the comp this year. You could like take tricks on that and sort of then take them up to like the next level, because you'd have like a proper spine to do stuff on as well. But I've always wanted to learn more stuff on a spine as well. I think that'd be pretty cool. So go build it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get it on. Dude, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode. I like this. I should get people to do this all the time. Thank you very much, Emlyn. Get back to your build. Look forward to seeing you back out on four wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Catch you soon.
Bye.
Joe.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Very
He's a
nice.
lovely boy. He's a lovely boy, is Emlyn.
Yeah, I'll have to find.
Yeah.
I'll have to find a photo of that spine. That spine was yeah, it looked like a death trap. But I did get one good photo on it. So yeah, I'll have to find that.
I suppose we might as well, whilst we're doing the Readers' Wives, do some of the other ones. I won't bother redoing Emlyn's because
no, I'd like to change my answer. No. Get him back on.
And well, this kind of as I'm going to assume, as Emlyn has has asked that question. And he did send that in separately. That this one has come in from Will Fox, although it has come in from the Roll Situation account.
Okay.
Well,
should
should we go down the beef route or should we go down the nicety route? Let's go down the nicety.
Who's got beef?
Who's got beef? Well, another podcast. Oh my goodness! This is like when No Snow found out about MBS.
That's fine. If they got beef with you, that's fine. I thought you were saying who's someone's got beef with me, and I was like, what have I done?
Oh, that was well. I mean, it does. He doesn't.
We can start some if you want to.
But Will Fox has definitely parred you out up it. If I scroll up the feed, it says that Connor Smout. I don't really want to send him a question. He's an absolute douchebag. But he's riding.
Such a horrible man as Will Fox. horrible man now.
But the Roll Situation has asked, who was the scariest competitor he has come across on a racetrack and why? Oh, so
scary
first impressions.
Oh, there was a race in Serbia, and it wasn't the first year I went, so it wasn't 2014, and it wasn't 2015 because that was the Worlds of that year were in Germany, so it must have been 2016, and one of the it might have even been David, one of the Polish riders who came over to the UK this year. We went down that track, and I mean that track's crazy in itself. Like 13 corners or something, and just hold on for dear life after the first three. I lost count of how many times we collided down that track. We were fighting for the same line all the way down that track, and I think we both came out of it pretty shredded. So I think that was after that. Every time I raced him, I was a bit like, oh no. I was a little bit nervous. So I think that was the sort of scariest. I've never got in the gates and gone like, oh no, it's like it's you, because at the end of the day, it doesn't for me, it doesn't really matter who you're racing. You've got to be aware of. It's nice to know who you're racing and how they ride and stuff, but that's not always a guarantee. So it's better not to rely on that and just be like, right, I know what I'm going to do. I've got a rough plan. Obviously, it's racing; anything can happen. But you go in with a rough plan, and you deal with it as you get down the track. So yeah, I never get in the gates and go with trepidation looking across at someone. Plus, the gates are always quite good natured and quite gentlemanly, I suppose. So it's
always a good fist bump.
Normally,
and
exactly. So I mean, I get nervous of racing in general, but not about racing particular people, I'd say.
Fair enough. On to the next then. Pierce Sutton. I don't know what happened to my voice then. Pierce Sutton. Just put on my wrestler's voice there. Pierce Sutton wants to know, what's your favorite reptile?
What is my favorite reptile? Komodo dragons are pretty cool.
Anything called a dragon's got to be cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're pretty badass. So I'd say, there you go, Pierce, Komodo dragon. I hope your life is fulfilled knowing that.
Where are we? Oh, that was Emily's one. Who's this from? Somebody called Donny Sibbon?
Never heard of her.
No, I don't know who that could be. No.
Sounds like a fucking princess.
It asks here, is Sonny the best team manager in the whole world? And then on a second message underneath, tell him to pick his words wisely. Wow.
Props to him and Trampa for actually putting me on the team in the first place, because I'm still stoked about that. So
Yeah.
props to him for that. And how did that?
Sorry. No, you should.
Yeah, let's move on to the
answer
question.
his
How did that come
question.
about? Well,
Is he or isn't he, or is there a different team manager? That
Connor, tell the truth, man. We've got your back.
He's a good dude. He's he put me in his video. You know, he sorts me out parts when I need, and and he's always a good laugh to go riding with. And even though I've been on the team for a couple of years, I still go up to him at comps and go, "Hey, Sonny, I'm riding on the team." Yeah, and he, he says, cool, yeah, of course you are. So yeah, he's always been I feel like he's gracious to, let me be on the team, and I'm honoured to be on the team. So yeah, cheers, Sonny.
Cheers, mate.
Oh, was that as painful to say as it was to listen to?
Yeah, well,
it was quite gushing, wasn't it?
It was.
Well, I'm an emotional guy.
Was it just Sonny gets you that way?
Sonny get everyone.
Sonny gets everyone gushing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, bless him. Bless his little cotton socks, eh? So last one I have here from the Readers' Wives is from the fabulous, the wonderful Mr. Aidan Bleedish. And true to form, he's got a cracking question.
Hello, boys from the dirt. Connor Smout, what a legend. Right, my question to you has probably been asked, I'm not sure. As I'm fighting with a bug and rib at the moment, what is the biggest injury you've had? What was the crash? And what were you thinking just before? Cheers.
There you go.
Well, I'm touch wood massively here because I'm about to screw myself over. But actually, in the act of mountainboarding, I've not had that many like bad ones as they go. You see people have some pretty gnarly crashes, but mostly I've always come away with the worst ones. I come away with are, some pulled muscles or some big bruises. I think the worst bruise I ever had was at Hales. It was board across day. I got up and was like, right, get up the track, have a practice run, just cruisy, get down the track. Dropped in and I just wasn't ready for the day yet. I don't think, because I hit something and I started wobbling and I got bucked into the up face of the roller and bruised like down here, and it went like galaxy purple and yellow like instantly, and my folks were quite worried. They were like, yeah, have you ruptured anything, thinking, am I gonna be pissing blood now?
Oh, no.
That was a pretty bad one. But yeah, in terms of injuries, actually mountainboarding, I did fracture a finger stopping at the bottom of the Serbia track, just to gaffer tape my fingers together and kept on going. Had to pull into the gates with my hand sort of like this because I couldn't bend them because they were gaffer taped together. But yeah, stopping at the bottom of that track is so gnarly. You come out the last corner onto this like roller thing, and then you have to stop because there's just a bank of thorns in front of you. So yeah, I think that one was, little things like that. In Serbia, though, I did break my foot not mountainboarding. After the first time I went, competed, my first world, came fifth, and then on the last night before we flew back in the hostel, I like rolled over the tiniest little like crazy paving step, like rolled my ankle, heard something snap, and was like, oh no, like, so then, yeah, had to shove.
Bizarre, isn't it, that we can chuck ourselves down mountains and
it's mental.
Like smash into the ground, and then You just go and do something like that, and it'll you out
Yeah,
again.
I'm definitely finding now though that the smallest things are taking longer to to recover from, which I'm sure will just get worse. But like little pulled twinges here and there, and
Jeez, come back and see me in another 20 years, pup.
Yeah, man.
Sorry guys. Yeah.
And
But-
niggle becomes a fucking massive fucking issue nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are those. I've always got scraped up and stuff. Like I said, after that year with racing with David, and there's photos from that year, and my back is just like grazes, and I had Will Molyneux's dad like washing my very little skin left here, and he was washing my arm off like the water from probably questionable water from a tanker, just like opening the tap and just like washing and there was just like, oh yeah. So I've definitely got scraped up a lot and lost a lot of skin over the years, but never, touching wood, never had that many bad ones.
Nice.
Yeah, good question, Beamish.
Bleedish.
Yeah.
Looking at the time here, gents, we're sort of coming up. Well, I mean, we have a little bit in the bag, I suppose, because of
Plus, there was some stoppage time.
The intermittent little section there.
Yeah.
But in the natural form of things, Slogs, have you got your 10? Before I go on to random questions and start stealing your 10.
Yeah, you got a habit of doing that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is now I've got about 40 just in fucking case.
He's built up a library, so now you can pick and mix every week.
Yeah, I always go reg or goof first because that's the one I'm interested in. Reg or goof.
Oh, in an interesting right. You can't nod along to this. I'll nod along to this, see if he understands. Thankfully, there's no. It's what is.
Hello.
He's back.
Right. Cool. I got your message though. Goof. Yeah.
Goofy.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I'm not one of the weird people who have to do one thing one way and one thing the other.
Yeah,
like
that's
Mr.
weird, that is, isn't it?
Mr. James Wanklin riding a longboard one way, and that's
weird.
Yeah, bizarre.
When I first got told that, I couldn't get my head around it for ages.
No. And I think James can't tic-tac in regular, but so he has to tic-tac in switch on a mountain board, but he no. Straight up, right leg forward.
What
odd boy.
That about? Yeah.
Right. What's your favourite free ride spot?
Ooh.
Don't have to be current, past or present.
Favorite fruit. I mean, does Little B count as a free ride spot? Because, yeah. There we go. See, I think that's my favorite. Although I have to Forest Dean, that's a pretty rad place to go and ride.
Well, that was going to be one of the questions that I had for you there, because we recently saw in Sonny's video that you mentioned there, Dirty Lifestyles, James Wanklin absolutely tearing Launchpad a new ass
in the wet. That footage was as well. It
madness.
Was absolute madness is right. Yeah,
like having ridden Launchpad on an electric, and I'm like, fuck, he's doing that on a fucking downhill. That's fucking mental.
Yeah, it does get
generate at the bottom half of it.
Yeah, it's from you have the like top section, and then sort of switch back through the woods, and then there's the really annoying right-hander, and then basically after that point, it
drops and drops, doesn't it?
Yeah, mental. Yeah, absolutely crazy.
I couldn't believe when I seen that.
Have you been riding that on a downhill board as well, then?
We've been there. We've been there quite a few times over the years. I think there's a video on my old YouTube channel of like Tom D, me and Tom D riding there. But yeah, we've been there quite a lot. I took.
You have to send us a link to that, mate.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. Been there. I think it was I think it was Dale who first told me about it actually, because they'd been night riding there. Again, yeah, Dale Goodwin, which I don't understand how you night ride it either, but I think they were riding with brakes at the time.
Right.
But yeah, I had to go and see it and ride it, and it was they didn't have like the new top section at the time, but it was still
that top section's not called Launchpad though, is it? It's called something else that leads into Launchpad.
Yeah, I think you're right there. You can sort of ride it as a continuous thing if there's not like people congregating around. Yeah. But to be honest, even that top section, you pick up some speed. And there's the one corner that I don't like on it, like I said, is that right hander.
Is that where it drops away on an off camber down to another big left hander?
Yeah, exactly. So you got the sharp right, then the big sort of sweeping left hander, and then that's when you start getting like the rollers and the feet.
Between those two, between that right and that left, is all off camber one way, or it feels like sort of struggling, like crabbing at a Mach 10 across there.
Yeah. I really struggle to keep the speed under control coming into that right hander, because I hate that corner so much. But yeah, trying to like scrub speed going through the trees, that is one place where, in terms of riding smoothly, it's just a bit hectic. I don't think there is another way to ride that bit. But the bottom bit is smooth and is just a dream to ride and bomb down.
Fast as Fook.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. That.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of other stuff to explore there apart from the Launchpad track as well. There's as you're walking up the kind of the walk up track for Launchpad, on the left there's a bike trail that comes down over a drop and then round into a berm.
Yeah.
We went and rode that, and that's really good fun. Yeah, you can't go up very far beyond above the drop, because it gets a bit rooty above there. But you can drop in, do the drop, and it's straight into the right hander berm. Ride that out. That's quite fun. And a couple of the jumps lines just down below that as well can work if it's dry enough.
Mm-hmm.
But then get a bit leery in the wet.
The place does.
Yeah.
Christian Freeslogger.
What freestyle? What's your favorite trick on freestyle?
For me to do, or that I like seeing?
It's a double for you to do, and for what blown you away to watch someone else do.
I mean, I love doing a back one. It's like it's become sort of a warm up thing, but it's just a nice thing to do. I don't know why. They probably don't look great, but I mean, I love doing them, and I like seeing them done as well. You're
not the first person, and you're certainly not going to be the last one to choose that.
I think that slow rotation with your back to the landing, isn't it? Like you can either choose to spot over your shoulder, or you can leave it just set for a little second or two before bringing it.
Yeah, I like trying to do it a bit late as well. So like your shoulders are rotating, but I'll like poke the back leg out so it just leaves the board behind a little bit before bringing it round. Like it's a thing that I always find myself doing. That's where the muscle memory is, I suppose. But yeah, those are things I like doing. In terms of what I like seeing, I'm very jealous of people who can like do real nice like front three like melons and stuff with that nice like nose bone and stuff. It's something I've never got the hang of, but when you see it done real nice, even with an indie and like Eamon does real nice ones where it just pokes that front leg out halfway around,
tweaked right out.
Yeah,
it's like he gets to about 90 to 110 and puts
like,
that first 110 degrees, and then he gets the 110 and it just pushes it right out, grabs hold of it, carries it round for another 45, 90 to 90 degree, and then comes out of it and lands back round. Lush.
Yeah, love seeing it, and I'm jealous because I've never got the hang of it. So yeah.
Favorite downhill track?
Well, we kind of. I don't want to say Forest of Dean again, but it's kind of like, I think that
very close to the favourite free ride.
Yeah.
Pick number 37 instead of number 38, Slugs.
Right, here's a good one. I like this one now. Right.
All right.
You build your own mountain board park out of the best bits of every other mountain board park. So you're going to have freestyle, jib park, board across, and we can put downhill track in that as well.
Yeah, you can have Little B in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want an example of what I draw? What I take?
Which area from what parks over the years, or that whether you've been there or not, or, you know, like,
or just seen them.
Yeah. I'd have the double and the triple from the beginning of the OTG board across, because I remember them being really fun. I'd have the last jump from Hereford board and bike park, because that I remember really liking that jump. I never really got to do any bigger stuff on it that I think I could do now, but I would love to have that there to go back and do some of that. I think also it sounds weird, but the Hales, I always loved the setup of the roll in down the dirt bank into that first jump. Like, that always felt really nice, and I think that's like the perfect beginning to a freestyle like line. I think just because I kind of want to know what happened to free cross, like what that's a thing that I think should exist again.
It would be very cool.
Yeah, I think, border cross racing with freestyle jumps in it, it'd be hellish gnarly, but I think it could work. I'd love to see something like that. And then I think, something from like some of the like tight bikey corners from Little B, opening out into like the last section of Forest of Dean as like the downhill bit, fast, smooth and wide, or like, yeah, tight bikey bermy into fast, smooth and wide from there. I think that's probably what I'd have in my park.
What about jib area? Where would you pull your jib?
Oh, I don't jib. Move on.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why. I never gelled with it. It's not a flow I can get my head into. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. Like, I can do sort of maybe some individual hits, but like I don't kind of think like everything happens too quickly, I think. It's the same. I think it's the same reason on skateboard. I don't like this kind of new style of skate parks popping up where everything's like really small and really like street style. So there's like quarter pipes, but they're only like 2 foot big, and they're made of brick, and it's just like everything's like too quick and too small. Whereas
really whippy as well, aren't they?
Yeah. Whereas I like like a big half pipe with like nice smooth transition, like and not this like small whippy stuff. So yeah, jib not my bag, I'd say.
Jib Smith.
Did you ever get to ride the jib park at Hales?
Did we? I think I had one session there. No, I think we had a couple sessions there. So I think that's where I first learned nollie fronts. I think we got the mats out up there and learning nollie fronts over a roller there. But again, that's just like one hit there. Like,
yeah.
I looked at the rest of it and was like, I wouldn't know what to do here. And then I'm watching, Mark Hale doing like 270 nose picks and stuff, and I'm just like, nah, I'll leave that to you guys. Yeah.
But who's your favourite rider to ride with? Who's your homeboy?
I mean, I've always loved riding with B. going to the woods with B is always he always makes me go faster and take a line that I probably didn't want to do. There's a little set of bike trails outside of Bristol in Fayland, Belmont Woods bike tracks, and we take our boards down there. And there's quite a few nice bits that we can do. There's like nice big step up, and a few of those sort of real like technical bike Burmy tracks like through the trees. And there's this one like bike double that I'd sort of eyed up a couple of times and took B down there, and we'd been riding and we were coming towards the end. We were like, and he was like, "Nah, we've got to do it. We're gonna kick ourselves if we don't do it. Come on." And he walked up and he strapped in, and I was like, oh, "Now I've got to do it." And he dropped in and he did it, and I was like, oh, "Yeah, I've just got to do it." And I was stoked that I did it, but I probably wouldn't do it again. But it was, he does make you ride. He does make you ride harder. Yeah.
Sorry, carry on. We're still mid-10 set, aren't we?
Go on.
I've just had a late question come in. I've
got 2 more left to do. We're through it at the end.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite rider to watch?
I mean,
who floats your boat?
It's probably been said before, but I mean, Emlyn Bainbridge is just a pleasure to watch. Always makes things look just like super casual and super steezy, and is super humble about stuff as well. Finishing a run doesn't matter whether he's done like a front 1 or a front 5. He gets to the bottom and still the same smile on his face. So yeah, and I'm jealous of his jib ability because I don't think I'll ever have
that. Last question. What's your ride setup at the moment?
My ride setup at the moment, I have a collab deck and then Trampa bindings with Trampa heel straps and the Trampa hyper hubs. I prefer the sort of light, the weight of them. I'm on Primo Alphas. I don't think I could ever ride anything other than Primos. I'm so used to them. The drift is predictable.
Predictable.
All good all rounders, I think. And I have Infinity trucks, and I'm on springs and blue dampers. That's them. I tell you what, I wish I used to ride the red Primo Alphas. I'm sad they don't do those anymore, but I think they're a bit soft. But yeah, that's my setup at the moment. So yeah, basically Trampa.
Yes.
That's your 10 set, man. Who's coming with a late question?
Not anyone you'd have expected necessarily, actually. All the way from the USA, and I did try to persuade him. when my head went down, I was busy texting back to see if I could persuade him to do another video, live video like we did Emlyn. But unfortunately, he's at work. But he appreciated the gesture. This is Joshua Elder from America. And I think he's Colorado. Is a Colorado boy? I'm pretty sure I see him always knocking around with them. I wouldn't want to speculate whether it be Denver or where in the state of Utah and Colorado. Is a big old fucking place to get confused with, especially for a yokel like me.
Yeah, they're trying to compete with Dan's little head.
Yeah, he's got a peanut head. His question is, I've got the peanut head for the record, Josh. Not you. I'm not implying that you've got the peanut head. I've got a peanut head for the record. The question is, what trick have you never done but would love to do?
Oh, I mean, there's a few. My trick bag's been filling up over the years, but it's still not as full as some people's. I would love to be able to land a front cork 7. I've done one at Matt's airbag, but I that doesn't count because it's an airbag. But I've never attempted one since. But I would love to get to the point where I could, have that day, there's like good hype, I'm feeling good, and be like, nah, I should have a go at this again. So I think that's got to be it. But I am trying to do at the moment, again, that I've sort of done on a resi ramp, small, but I'd love to get a backside cork 5 as well. That's kind of on my cards at the moment. It's going to be my next thing, I think.
It'd be really nice to have a dirt ramp next to a airbag ramp with say 2 exact same kickers, and the airbag, landing at the same height as the dirt landing, so you could literally go from the airbag and go right. I've nailed.
Well, I think there's been a few setups over the years. I think at various centres where that's been sort of been the idea. But like Hereford had it where they had their foam pit, and then next to it they had the wooden kicker with a terrifyingly steep landing that then went into a hedge. And we sort of got it at Bugs where we got the MBS demo ramp into the airbag, and then further down the hill they built a kicker which is like exactly the same radius and stuff, and it does feel very similar to pretty well, apart from it being like slatted wood, it's exactly the same curvature and kick as the transition as the MBS demo ramp. But it's just I don't think the line into it, haven't quite got the line into it quite right just yet. But yeah, you're right. I think
it's mounted on the hill at the same angle as well, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think, and there's like a sort of there's a feature sort of in the way that doesn't quite work on the line into it. So yeah, I think shovels out early next season, get that sorted out. I'm sure it'll run. But yeah, that is the dream and the ideal. Yeah, like you said, to have the airbag on one side and the dirt on the other. Those are the things I'd love to do.
You say about getting the shovels out in the spring. Consider this a call to arms. Keep your eyes posted. We will be heading to Bugs for a couple of dirty dig days.
You can hear me moan about blisters.
That's it, yeah. Get some of the hard work done now in the springtime in anticipation for a good season and the champs there. So hopefully when it comes round to it, maybe the likes of Eamon and whoever else is helping in the preparatory stages.
I mean, yeah, big shout out to Emily and Eamon for the work they did this year. It was unbelievable, the amount they did.
Busy boys, weren't they?
Yeah.
Listen, dude, is there anything that you can think of that you'd like to particularly put out there or talk about? It's that stage of the night.
That stage of the night. No, I don't think so. I think there was a couple of funny moments from the World Championships in Germany in 2015.
Oh, really?
Interested?
And yeah,
I think.
Come on,
well, I mean,
who's embarrassed? You or someone else?
No, that's not embarrassed. I'm embarrassed of my memory. I think that's the first time I've ever seen Matt Bryn drunk. And yeah, came running across. It was like this sort of conservatory type building. He came running around the other side and just gave me a massive hug.
Oh my goodness!
That was really nice. It was also hilarious that Cody snapped his balance board that he'd won earlier that day and just went, let me have a go, and cavemaned in on this balance board, and it just imploded. And then I'll never forget Andy Bryn's crestfallen face. We're all hungover in the car the next day on the way home. It stopped for some food, and we stopped at this like kebab pizza type place, and he ordered a pepperoni pizza. And they didn't speak very good English at all. and he got his pizza and he opened it, and it was just chili peppers on there, and they'd given him a pepper only pizza. And he was there because I don't think he's a very big spice eater, so he was just there hungover, like basically gagging, looking at this like chili pizza. It was just like,
I just want to eat
so
pizza.
sad.
I want to eat that pizza.
Pepperoni.
Yeah, pepper only.
Pepper only.
Pepperoni. That's fucking brilliant.
Oh, amazing.
So I think, I think there's some standout moments, and there's been so many others over the years that, I think we'd be here for another hour and a half if we tried to go into them. But yeah,
it has been a pleasure reliving a bit of your past and present with you.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Any plans?
Thoroughly enjoyable.
Any plans for the future? Have you got any sort of plans for this season ahead that you want the best put out to the world, so you can dream it, say it, believe it, and achieve it?
I think for a very nice reason. I think my riding season for this year, I think is over for the time being, because we're going to what would have been the Australian World Championships, but unfortunately, that didn't come to be. But we're still
going to go and try and ride the range. The
ranch.
Fucking hell! What's that?
definitely going to try and hook up with Dylan out there and see if we can get a session somewhere for sure. I mean, it seems silly going all that way and not jumping on a mountain board.
You got Ryan Slater's in Melbourne as well. I was chatting to him about a spoiler. Chatting to him about coming on and doing an episode in the future. Melbourne way as well. So definitely.
Well, I will be. I will be / might already be in Melbourne, but depending on what time it is for people watching, or listening. But so going and doing that basically for the rest of this year, and then next season, work on the freestyle some more. I think try and get over that fear. Work on the head game and try and actually push myself to move away from airbags and resi ramps and actually do things on dirt.
Yeah,
because that's what it's all about, really, isn't it?
Oh man, I think if you're doing stuff on the resi and land it clean, there is zero reason why you should not be doing that shit on dirt.
That is part of the problem, though. There's no rationality. There's no reason or rhyme or reason. It's just something.
I can't complain. I can't say anything. I can't do the shit on the resi ramp, let alone do it on
the I think I just get too complacent sometimes. I think next year, push myself a little further to actually do the stuff I want to do.
Yeah. Here's an idea, Messieurs Brind brothers, Eamon, Emlyn. Looking at you guys in particular as the ambassadors of the sport here, they ran a progression, or Matt Brind ran a progression session earlier on this year, and we did in typical dirt fashion take the piss and ran a little Sloggets Scorpion progression session advert on the side. But that said, sorry, it got stuck in my throat there. I'd like to have a few tips and tricks tips on tricks off of those boys. We always have a ride together and glean some advice and stuff like that. And I'm not looking at necessarily at how to, learn specific tricks or even like how to start. Everybody knows everybody knows. Certainly my level, I can get my head around kickers and stuff, but sort of moving it on to the next stage of tricking from just being able to, boost airs cleanly onto landings and so on, moving on to rotations, or whether it be inverted or horizontal rotation.
Bit more of like an intermediate progression session.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, I have to give them props. Both both Matt and James, whenever I ride with them, basically, both of them, like they've always got help and tips and stuff. And I definitely wouldn't have done the stuff I have done without, pointers from those guys. So cheers for that. But yeah, maybe next steps, intermediate progression session, it might be a cool thing. Although there's a lot to be said just for getting together and having a session, because you learn a lot anyway. So it doesn't have to be
just more sessions in general.
That's it. There is nothing better for learning, I think, than just getting together and watching other people ride. And the hype of that session, and making it push you further.
Maybe we need to speak to Bugs and see if he can put in planning permission for a number of dwellings. Like what they call it, a help to buy scheme for mountain boarders, and we'll all
like a commune.
Yeah, commune, cult. I mean, those words might well be bandied about, but we'll know that it's just a group of lads wanting to ride. But yeah, or invest in Bugs Boarding, buy a property there, and we can ride all day and have sessions every night.
Yeah.
Sounds
like a great idea. Get it in place.
Yeah, I'll have a chat with him. Let's turn into a property developer.
Get a timeshare.
That's it. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I can feel a pyramid scheme coming on. Dude, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Quite welcome. Thanks for having me on.
I've had an absolute blast.
Enjoy Australia.
Yeah, I will.
It is cracking out there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really, it's a shame we're not gonna have the compact there, but there was just no reason not to go and see it and do it anyway. So yeah,
you're gonna have an amazing time. You're gonna have an amazing time. And definitely take some pictures and vids when you're in the ranch, because we don't see a lot of it. I think there might be reasons behind that, but I wouldn't want to go.
Might play into some reasons.
I'm sure you might be able to get a little low key sort of behind the scenes ride if you're there with Dylan. I don't know what the crack is, but yeah,
maybe.
Enjoy.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Have a lovely evening.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Nice one. First.
Boom! I like that. We should hold that. That should be the new ending there.
A new outro. Yeah.
The new outro.
I want royalties.
Cool. I'll speak to you all soon.
Yeah.
Nice one, guys.
I'm doing a hand job for that one. That's it.
Laters.
Nice.
Laters, man.
Have a good evening.
Way aye, man. That was dead canny as out, that like. Cheers for tuning out to listen. Now, before you gan yem, don't forget, if you want to keep getting doing with the Dorty Dort fun, like and subscribe. Get amongst it. Shy Ben's getting out.